Non-stop, I've been asked the question, is Marvel Rivals going to kill Overwatch? And all around every comment section, I see Marvel Rivals is killing Overwatch, Overwatch is better than Marvel Rivals, and basically just an all-out war pinning these two games against each other. So I decided to get to the bottom of it and play Marvel Rivals for 7 days to prove, is it really better than Overwatch? Or is it going to be forgotten about like the many other quote-unquote Overwatch killers that have come before it? Now, you see, I love Overwatch. I've played it for 8 years, and it has been the game that has kickstarted me making content for a living. So Overwatch and I have a pretty close relationship, and I consider Overwatch a flawed masterpiece. Some of the highest peaks I've ever had in gaming, and at one point in my life, I believed it was the greatest game of all time. But after some missteps, I also believed it still had the potential to be great, but problems have kept it from that greatness. As time has gone on, I stopped believing the good times would ever come back. Enter Marvel Rivals, a game I heard about but never really gave a fair look for a long time. I had buddies playing it in alpha and I thought nothing of it. I basically ignored it. I mean, come on, a Marvel game, it looks like a slightly more polished mobile game, not interested at all. I've been so used to disregarding Overwatch adjacent games that I thought surely this would just be another game to add to the pile on the Game of Thrones that Overwatch has sat on for 8 years. Still, I think somewhere I was looking for something, anything to help my frustration with the current Overwatch experience, so when the beta rolled around, I did give it a try. Now, I barely had a couple of days to try it in the beta, and I was really overwhelmed. There was so many different new characters and the third-person view, I didn't really know what to think. And while I was a bit impressed with how the game played and the many characters that looked really fun and interesting and had all these crazy kits and abilities, I didn't really fully know how to evaluate it at the time. I did know it had a really fun gameplay loop, and I loved how it captured the hero vision, making it so that you feel like the hero that you're playing, and I think that that hero vision, hero fantasy in Overwatch is something that they have neglected for far too long. Everything felt strong and I had fun playing the game in the beta. I couldn't make a sound judgment, but all my original reservations about the game were removed and I was looking forward to the launch of Rivals as both a player and a content creator. Now, I talked with a lot of friends and fellow content creators about the game, but no one really seemed all that committed to the game yet, but slowly things started changing. All of a sudden, Marvel Rivals started trickling more and more pre-launch reveals, and the hype kept on building and building and building as they revealed more and more features and characters. I think this game could have been successful with just a launch of 25 heroes, and we get 33 at launch. That is crazy, and the hype was all-time highs before we finally got to the day that we were all looking forward to, release day. We got our hands on all the heroes, and a lot of the things that were dropped right before launch was the fact that they were all free to play, all 33 of them, and all of them will be free to play forever. We also learned that the Battle Pass is going to be something that you can unlock forever as well. Great monetization policies, which is something that a lot of people were scared of or are generally scared of. And most of all, the servers worked perfectly on the first day. That is just wild. I mean, everything was just working on that first day, and I was having a ton of fun playing. On release, I was honestly blown away by the game. I was swept up in the support of the game, massive amounts of players, and I was having a lot of fun. That being said, you know when you play a game and you can't quite find the character that you love to play, right? I felt that way in the beta. I didn't play for that long, but I liked a lot of heroes, but loved? No. But that was until I tried Bucky for the first time. My Overwatch background of Roadhog, Cassidy, and DPS Doomfist kind of perfectly combined into this perfect hero, and I like him so much that I'm legitimately scared that they might change him at some point, and I will be so freaking sad. I mean, he's so fun. I legit think I could play this hero for thousands of hours, and this is the thing that literally hooked me on the game. Again and again, I found myself locking Bucky and only Bucky. At this point, I was 1000% sold and seemed like I was completely on board with Rivals. But then I did run into a major problem, the optimizations. I have a 4060 Ti and a Ryzen 5 5600X, which is a really great PC and a ton of RAM and just all around a nice, expensive, great PC, and I cannot play this game or stream this game very well at all. I've heard specifically AMD has problems with Unreal Engine 5, and even when I put everything to max low, I would still get these really bad frame skips and lag spikes whether I played the game on or off stream. Now later on, actually very recently, I found a config file that matched massively turns down the graphics and shaders of the game. It looks super pixelated on select screens, and while the game plays well now, it frustrates me to no end how I have to make all these sacrifices to enjoy the game when I have really a great computer. Also, this made me recognize just how highly optimized Overwatch is, and I probably took that for granted. Now I see it in hindsight. Now, official day 1 and 2 games were freaking fun. These were non-ranked games, but I had a lot of fun workshopping the heroes. While I dealt with some optimization problems, it didn't stop me from enjoying the game. Also, the beginner's guide that my editor and I spent a long time making was immensely popular, and I was very grateful for Marvel Rivals for letting me in the NDA to record footage for it. And for transparency, Blizzard has never acknowledged me despite all my efforts and growth as a creator on Overwatch, so when a company treats me this well, I'm inclined to support them. I'm only human, but I did want to be transparent about it. Now, these first day games and streams were a wild time where it felt like everyone in the world was playing. The fact that we could actually get into games and the launch went well is nothing short of a miracle when we look at the many other big launches that have happened, even Overwatch 2's launch where no one could get in. And yeah, it's crazy that things kind of flowed this perfectly well. I think having a ton of login problems can really stunt a game's momentum, and that didn't happen, so yeah, I was very surprised. Now, what I really wanted was ranked, and in a few days it was dropping. I anxiously waited for then. You know when people in ranked constantly ask for like a rank reset? Well, this is exactly what it would look like. Everyone started bronze, no placement matches or seemingly quick play MMR. The games were instantly super lopsided, and while it was really fun farming, it was not competitive for a while, and yeah, if you jumped in right away, you might have not had a great time. Still, after enough games, I started to get into some real games with some great players, playing against big Overwatch streamers like Super, Aspen, Warren, Sunshine Bread, and my goat Samito. I had a great time on stream playing the game and seeing a time where everyone was playing. In Overwatch, people rarely play at the same time, but because of this special day where ranked opened at the same time, everyone was freaking on. It felt unlike anything I was ever a part of. While I was still suffering from optimization problems here with some slight tweaks at the time, games were good enough to play, and I got to see a first glimpse at competitive rivals. It was really freaking fun. I found while chaos is fun, the more intelligent play with people trying to win is my favorite aspect of a hero shooter, and I was really happy that just like in Overwatch, that was still here in Marvel Rivals. This was a great time, and I really felt like it was 2017 Overwatch again. Now, a few days later, Top 500 opened up globally, and I started my grind. And I grinded and managed to squeak my way into Top 500 in the world, playing mainly Winter Soldier. Now, this is going to constantly move up, so I knew by the time I woke up, I would lose it again. But it was a really fun experience, and by this point, I was just completely hooked on Marvel Rivals and the competitive aspect of the game. It really feels like it recaptures the same feeling I felt back in those early years in Overwatch. The desire to grind, the push towards scrimming and getting better. Hell, maybe I'll build a tournament team. It's been a long time since I have found a game that I want to grind this hard in and legitimately get good at. These feelings that I've been wanting to feel again in Overwatch for a long time, I found in Rivals. And at this point, to be honest with you, I'm 1000% committing to creating Marvel Rivals content and want to become the best creator through this game. Streaming gameplay educational content, I am now completely on board. So what is my official review for Marvel Rivals? Great. It's just simply great. Does this game, though, have big problems? Undoubtedly. I think the hero problem is a massive one. They made one of the biggest mistakes that Overwatch made that still to this day has not been fixed, and it's the fact that they released with not enough tanks and supports. As you know, in Overwatch 1, we used to have an attack and defensive section, which now we know with common knowledge that that did not matter. We just had a whole bunch of DPS and very little tanks and very little supports, and Marvel Rivals saw that and saw the problems that were created by that and didn't really rectify it in a way that made sense before launch. I think this was a huge misstep, but it isn't like they can't fix it with time. It is just a little frustrating that this was a mistake that Overwatch made that Rivals did not learn from. On top of that, the optimization problems are atrocious, and more effort should be made to fix this before literally anything else. I don't think adding a whole bunch of new stuff to the game, while a lot of players are having huge problems, makes a lot of sense to me. I think optimization should be the first and foremost problem, but it does look like they are looking into it, so I'm going to reserve judgment for now. Granted, there's a lot to love about the game. The core gameplay loop is fantastic, the game is fun and fresh, there's a lot of heroes that have really unique designs, and the game has a crazy amount of depth, and I can't wait to watch pro play. Right now, I would honestly give it a 8.7, but it would be near a 10 if it wasn't for those two major issues, optimization and the hero massive discrepancy between DPS, support, and tanks. I am, however, extremely excited about the future of this game. There are so many heroes to make with kits that would fit right into this game, and I can envision it, and I can't wait to see them made into real characters. Now, the true question of this video is Marvel Rivals better than Overwatch? And this is the question that I got asked so many times, and I constantly got asked on stream, and now I finally have a video to link them to so I don't have to answer it over and over again. Because I've always given the same answer. I love Overwatch, but right now, I'm enjoying Marvel Rivals. The truth is, Marvel Rivals and playing through this experience has actually made me appreciate Overwatch more for what it is. From the polish to the optimization to the weight of the abilities, Overwatch has done so many things right, I feel like it's easy to take for granted without directly having something else good to compare it to. There's a reason that Overwatch has been on top for so very long. I truly think that if anyone enjoys Marvel Rivals and you've never played Overwatch, you 100% should, because you might love that game, and I actually think you will. That being said, Marvel Rivals is a game I massively enjoy and plan to play for the foreseeable future, but at the end of the day, I recognize how much fun a newer player can have in Overwatch as well. I think that in general, myself included, we allow public perception of a thing to affect our opinions on that thing instead of finding our own feelings. And I think if you cut the noise and just enjoy a good game, you'll have fun. And this includes both Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. So in general, I don't like supporting a game in opposition to another or hating on a game because you like a different similar game. It seems silly to me. So to really answer the question, is Marvel Rivals better than Overwatch? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. How about you play it and decide what is fun to you and just play what you like? Anyways, this is my review for Marvel Rivals. Do you agree or disagree? How do you feel about Marvel Rivals and Overwatch? Are you going to play both games, neither games, or one or the other? Let me know down below, and do me a solid and smash that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. I really appreciate y'all being here, and I can't wait to pop off and make even better content. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.